Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well. Um, as you can see on my face, my body's seriously telling me something. And therefore I'm such a um, good guinea pig for listening to the body in all sorts of ways, in relation to circumstance, in relation to food, what I eat or drink, because the body goes, no, sorry, that was the wrong thing for you to eat. And so, even you thought it was yummy, we're going to show you that it wasn't for us. Anyway, so it clogs up my body, something shocking, whether it's food or circumstance. And so this time it's a little bit of both. Um, I have encountered through work very contradictive, confusing people that speak in chaos, speak in, it's like talking Arabic to someone who's not born with the Arabic language. Some like a German or English speaking. And so you stand there and go, well, this is what we decided to do. And the opposite was implemented. And so you can wonder what the misunderstanding was. And I'm going to say this, it's very rare that you go into a workplace where everybody is on the same level. And this workplace is nobody is on the same level. Anyway, so 2 days ago, or 2 nights ago, I had dreams, like very vivid. I don't know that I have lucid dreams that everybody talk about, but I make decisions in my dreams, and that's been a normal thing for me since I was this big. But I don't know whether I'll call them, they're just dreams for me, but the dreams are real. And so the other night I dreamt that I was in a car with a person that I don't recognize in real life. But in the dream, he was very familiar. Not a partner, as an intimate partner, because I don't have one of those. But it was an old friend, more so than anything. And we were in a car. The car, the model, the make, doesn't matter. It was in a car. And we drove, and he missed the turn off to the left, which I knew that we had to take, and he missed it. And I went, well, it was right there, and I told you to go left. And so anyway, we'll get around and go the other road. Okay. And the car turned into a boat, and the boat was on the ocean, or indeed a very large lake that we couldn't see the other side of. Anyway, we were, and it was a speedboat, and we were driving. Well, he was driving. I was always the passenger. I was a passenger in the car, and I also ended up being the passenger in the boat. Hence, we missed the turn off. And so anyway, we ended up in this boat, and we going to the left now. And all of a sudden, I saw this object falling from the sky, and it looked like a pull toy shark, and it had a smiley face on the nose, right? And it was coming, like it was coming down, shooting down from the sky, and it just missed the boat, right? And it missed it sort of at the end. Anyway, the water started changing. It was patchy bits patchy bits that was really rough, and there was other bits that were really smooth. And I went, well, that's really weird. That's just seems like it's coming from underneath and not actually like normal ocean, obviously. And so I sort of turned a little bit, and I realized that there was mist, nearly raindrops coming in as a mist. And so I turned around, and I saw this massive tidal wave, and it was rearing itself up so high, and I'm going, quickly, just go, step on it, right? And this tidal wave was steadily coming toward us from behind, and so we took off, and this fellow steered the boat in between some protective barriers, and then I woke up. And it was interesting because it was with such I actually, and you I must stress this, if you ask AI something online, be very mindful of what you ask, because they obviously record everything. But I asked in this particular instance what my dream meant. And and there was nothing that I hadn't already worked out. And it was all about this workplace. And so the car represented grounding and stability. The boat represented floating on emotions, right? So water is emotions, ground is grounding and earth. And so anyway, this fellow missed. And I, you know what, I think that the fellow in the car who was driving was my consciousness, my brain, my head, my mind, my intellect. The passenger who was me, which was my soul, my subconscious, the one that knows best, right, said, we have to take left here. And my mind says, oh no, I need some extra income. All right, we'll go straight. And so by doing that, and the interesting bit was that the mind who went straight went, oh, we can take the other road to the left further on, right, to get to the same point. And that's interesting in itself when you look at the whole thing that I'm about to explain. So anyway, we got the car turned into a boat, right? And so no longer were we grounded, we were floating on emotion. And this shark, happy shark, sharks are dangerous, right? We've been taught that they're dangerous. Most of them are not. But this looked like a happy pool shark, which was disguised as danger with a smiley face. So it tried to portray itself as lovely and beautiful and happy and fun, but underneath it wasn't. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing, practically, right? And we all know what that means. And anyway, so when it missed the boat, only just missed it, and that's also an interesting thought. It didn't hit us, but it just skimmed us, right? So, and the fact that the water went patchy, rough in some parts, and really smooth in some parts also reflects the workplace. Some parts I really love, some parts are really bad, right? And so the mist and confusion coming from behind, not in front. Behind tells me that it's creeping up on you, which it has, right? And when I turn around and see it for what it is, it's actually this massive tidal wave of water emotion that, if we don't act, will drown us and submerge us and kill us, right? So, and the fact that the subconscious, which was me in the boat, told the driver, the conscious person, the action person who was driving, to quickly go, right? Go for it and zoom out of here. And he drove, which is again interesting because it's a masculine action, mind, right? Feminine sitting in the passenger seat because the divine feminine is passive, subconscious, right? It's so clear. It's mind blowing. Anyway, my trusted or not so trusted mind drove us behind protective barriers, which means that this divine masculine actioned the divine feminine order. I'm going to say order because I put it out there. Go, right? And he followed that order to take us to safety. And so, what does it mean then, if you haven't already got it? It means that the subconscious, which was me in the dream, the divine feminine, is going, what? Number one, we missed the turn altogether, right? You don't need that extra money. You can make it anyway. Rather than following your brain, right? And you thinking that you're doing the right thing. And so bypassing the direct path and going around to eventually come to the same outcome. But in doing so, encountering this threat, emotional threat to stability and clarity, and taking on confusion and chaos and emotional, massive big tidal wave that is if you don't act, it will kill you, right? And it will kill your peace, kill your direct path, kill you, right? Emotionally, heart-minded, and cause chaos in your brain. This is why so many people stay at a workplace that they actually hate, because it causes confusion. And so, very interesting. And last night, I had already made up my mind what I was going to do about this job. And you can guess what that is. And I asked God and Spirit of the Light, because you always, in your prayer or ask, include the light. Because what is the energy of God? Because He's not a person, He's not a deity, He's not an entity, He's everything. And so people say, oh, God's everywhere. And people go, oh, I can't see Him. Well, no, but you can feel Him, right? And so I asked God and Spirit of the Light to show me in my dream last night what the outcome was, now that I had decided what to do about the dream the previous night. And so I dreamt that I was driving a car, and I know what the brand was. It was like an SL Mercedes-Benz, and it was a convertible, right? And I was driving, and I got to this road that split. There was a fork, and I looked at the left fork, and I knew that I had been down there before. And so and I was alone in the car, which tells me that the divine masculine and the divine feminine had, in this dream, merged, right? So if the divine feminine and the divine masculine is split inside you, you get conflicting focus. And once they merge together, it's like an arrow, right? You know exactly your path. But and this dream last night, we must have merged, because I looked at the left path, the left gravel road, and it was going upwards. And I went, you know what, I've been there before, so I'm going to go straight. Or it wasn't actually straight. I could see the road veering a little bit to the right. And so we came to this I don't know, it was like a Greek platform with all these pillars and steps, and around down the bottom of the steps were people swimming. And I turned around and I went, I can't get over that with my car because it was like only a couple of meters of water. It was like a channel around these like shiny white marble steps, right? It was like a Greek temple or something, right? And it was funny because I just remembered something then. Anyway, I'll talk about it in a minute. And I thought I can't get over that water there. And so I turned around and I went back a little bit and I could see people coming on their bicycles, right? And it was like they're doing a triathlon or something. And they had these things on their nose. And I asked them what that was. And they said, "Oh, don't you know? Like, seriously, have you got any idea or what?" And I went, "No, I don't actually." And they said, "Well, if you have one of these on," and they all had it. They said, if you can breathe properly, you can think better." And I went, "Oh, yeah, of course." So the chaos makes your breath stifled, and it causes chaos in your mind. I'm clogged up. I can't breathe properly. And I said, "I have another question. I can't get over that water with my car. How do I get out of here?" And one of them said, "Well, the same way as you came." And he said, "It might be a little soggy and a little damp that way, but you'll get over it." And I said, "Well, I'm driving this thing." And he said, "No, you'll get over it. Just go back the same way that you came." And how did I come? I came excited, thinking that it was going to be great. I came happily, thinking that this was a great solution. And now I'm going to leave the same way as I came, happy that I experienced and learned from that experience, and happy to do whatever I can to make it easier for them to see me go. Where most people would just slam the door and be pissed off that it didn't work. But that's not the way to do it, because that tells your subconscious that you're running away from something. And if you run away from something, that creates karma. And that karma will come and get you. So, and so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And that's easy. You just walk away the same way that you came, happily, excited, because you've learned a lot of things. That was very valuable, even though it didn't work out. So with any relationship, we should do exactly that. We've learned so much from people, from situations, from that whole event, there's things that I absolutely loved about that, and things that were bloody awful. Like, what is that? And so that was so incredibly interesting to see how people, and they very readily voiced their, how am I going to call that? Their dissolution, their chaos that they experienced every day, their confusion that they experienced every day, but yet nothing was done about it. Nothing's been done about it for a long time. And so they remain in the confusion, they remain in the chaos, and in turn, their bodies are confused. There's no clarity at all there. And they feel that they don't have a choice because there's not much work otherwise. So, they just put up with it, which is something that I would never do. Because I'm all about clarity. You have to be functioning within clarity. And that is a massive thing for anyone. We all have to function in clarity, because otherwise we are being misled. So it was enormously interesting. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And and I can't wait for my puffy, and I have black rings under my eyes, which is just awful. I wake up in the morning and go, oh my goodness. But that'll take 3 days for the body to process that chaos within to get back to normal. So hopefully that'll clear quicker than 3 days. But that's usually what happens. And you get to learn how your body reacts. But clarity, and this is what I help others with, clarity, to gain their own clarity. And it took my body 2 days to start screaming at me, right? And it's now been a week. And it's not going to last much longer. So anyway, I hope you got some clarity from this. And if you have dreams like this, have a look at them, because they're telling you something. And you get to understand what your soul is trying to tell you. So listen, because you're not stupid, you're not crazy, you're not a hairy fairy, right? You're not in a dreamland. The people who tell you that you're all those things are not in touch with themselves, or with their soul, or with God. But if you listen, the universe is screaming at you, but you're not listening. You're cutting that connection, and don't do that, because then you're taking up connection with someone who doesn't carry the true light but carries a couple of horns on their head. So I hope this was valuable for some out there. Leave me a comment on what you think and your experiences on this. That'd be very interesting, and I do respond to everybody. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon.